My parents said it was just a get-together when they excluded me from my sister's engagement party, so I packed for a solo trip instead. Hours later, their calls came flooding in, and that was the night everything changed. I'm 27M, youngest in my family. My sister Emily is 30, the golden child, as most of our relatives would put it. Ever since we were kids, she was always the one who got extra attention, the nicer gifts, the benefit of the doubt. I wasn't neglected. I had a decent childhood, but there was a clear hierarchy, and Emily sat firmly at the top. As adults, the dynamic didn't really change. She moved back home after college for a few years, racked up some credit card debt, and my parents quietly covered it. When I had student loans, I was told to toughen up and learn responsibility. Emily's relationships? Always celebrated. My relationships? We don't want to get too attached. You're young, it won't last. I learned to live with it. Keep my head down, work on my career, and build my own independence. So when Emily got engaged last month, I wasn't surprised at the fanfare. My parents were thrilled. My mom started crying the moment Emily showed off the ring. Dad popped champagne. The whole family group chat exploded with excitement. Me? I was happy for her, genuinely. She and her fiancé, Mark, seemed like a good match. We weren't close, but I had no beef with him. I figured, hey, maybe this would finally bring some balance. Then came last week. I was on a video call with my mom when she casually mentioned, "Oh, don't forget, we'll be busy Saturday with the get-together for Emily and Mark." I blinked. What get-together? She smiled. Just a little celebration, nothing formal. Close family, friends. You know. I waited. So I should come by around what time? Her smile faltered. Oh, honey, it's really just for Emily's side and Mark's family. You wouldn't really know anyone there. We didn't think you'd enjoy it. I just stared at the screen. I'm her brother, and it's her engagement party. Mom fidgeted with her necklace. Well, technically, it's not an engagement party, just a gathering. Right. A gathering that somehow included every relative except me. I felt something in my chest snap. All those years of being sidelined, brushed aside, treated like an afterthought, it all condensed into this one moment. I didn't argue. I just nodded slowly and said, "Got it." That night, I sat with my laptop and booked myself a solo trip. Nothing fancy, just a cheap flight to Colorado, a little cabin rental near the mountains. Departure, Saturday morning. Return, the following Wednesday. If they didn't want me at the get-together, then fine. I'd use the time for myself. Saturday morning, while my parents were probably helping Emily get ready for her big celebration, I was sipping airport coffee, boarding my flight. Before takeoff, I snapped a photo out the window and posted it to my Instagram with the caption, "Sometimes the best company is your own." I turned my phone on airplane mode. For the first time in years, I felt free. It was later that evening, after I'd checked into the cabin, made myself dinner, and was sitting by the fireplace, that my phone lit up like a Christmas tree. Missed calls from mom. Texts from dad. "Call me. It's urgent." Voicemails from relatives. Even Emily. I frowned, opened the first voicemail. It was my mom, her voice frantic and cracking. "Where are you? Please call us back. It's Emily. We need you here." My stomach dropped. I didn't know what happened yet, but I knew one thing for certain, that just to get together wasn't what they had told me. And whatever went down at that party, I was suddenly at the center of it. Even though I wasn't invited, when I finally worked up the courage to call back, my dad picked up on the first ring. "Where the hell are you?" His voice was raw, like he'd been shouting. I told mom. "I'm away for a few days," I said evenly. "Why? What's going on?" There was a pause, then a strained exhale. "Emily's party, it went bad. Real bad." I leaned back in the wooden chair, the cabin quiet around me. "What do you mean by bad?" Dad hesitated. "Mark's family got into it with Emily. Some things came out. Ugly things. We need you to come home." My pulse quickened. What things? But before he could answer, Mom grabbed the phone. Her voice was high and desperate. "Please, honey, just come back. Emily needs you. We all need you." I didn't say anything. I let the silence stretch until she broke. They called off the engagement. Apparently, during the party, one of Emily's old college friends got drunk and started running her mouth. She told Mark's family about Emily's wild phase, cheating, partying, money borrowed and never repaid. Mark's parents, who already had doubts about Emily, pressed Mark. Then Mark confronted Emily right there, in front of everyone. Emily, cornered, snapped back. Voices were raised. Guests stared. Someone stormed out. Within an hour, Mark had left the house and told my parents it was over. The dream celebration had turned into a public implosion. And suddenly, the daughter who could do no wrong was sitting in the ruins of her own choices, with all eyes on her. But what floored me was this. She keeps asking for you, Mom said through tears. She says she needs her brother, that you're the only one who won't judge her. I almost laughed, not out of cruelty, but out of bitter irony. The same sister who spent years treating me like a spare will suddenly wanted me as her lifeline. I pictured her at that party, makeup streaked from crying, clutching at anyone who'd listen, while the fiancé she put on a pedestal walked away. And I pictured my parents, the same ones who told me not to bother showing up, frantically searching for me because now, suddenly, I mattered. I told Mom quietly, I'm not coming back tonight. Or tomorrow. She choked. Please. She needs you. We all do. I stared into the fire crackling in the cabin hearth. When you planned that party, you didn't think I was needed. You made it clear I wasn't family enough. So don't call me now just because it's convenient. There was a sharp inhale, then the sound of muffled sobbing before the line cut off. The rest of the night, my phone buzzed nonstop. Emily's messages came in waves. I messed up. Please, I just need you to listen. You're my brother. I know I've been awful, but I need you now. Please, I can't do this alone. And then, you went on a trip instead of coming here? How could you? Don't you care about me at all? That last one made me set the phone face down. Because the truth was, I did care. She was still my sister. But caring didn't mean sacrificing myself every time she fell into a hole she dug with her own hands. The next morning, I hiked up a nearby trail as the sun rose, the cold mountain air biting my cheeks. My legs burned, but it felt good. Cleansing. Halfway up, I stopped to catch my breath and looked out at the valley below. For the first time in years, I didn't feel small. I didn't feel like the forgotten sibling, the afterthought. I felt like someone who finally took control of his own story. My family could cry, call, panic all they wanted. But they couldn't erase the fact that when they had the chance to include me, they chose not to. And that choice had consequences. I didn't rush home. I let them sit with the silence, the way I'd sat with theirs for years. But I knew, when I did finally see them again, things would never go back to the way they were. The balance had shifted. And this time, it was in my favor. Update. It was 4 days before I drove back into town. The calls and texts had slowed by then, but I knew the storm was waiting. When I pulled into my parents' driveway, Emily's car was already there. My stomach tightened. The house looked the same as always, white siding, flowers in the front yard, but I could feel the tension in the air before I even stepped inside. The door opened before I could knock. Mom stood there, her face pale, eyes red from crying. She didn't hug me. She just whispered, "Please be gentle." Inside, Dad sat in his recliner, staring at the muted TV, pretending not to watch the door. Emily was curled up on the couch in sweatpants, makeup smeared like she hadn't slept in days. When she saw me, she jumped up. "Finally," she said, voice cracking. "Do you know what it's been like? Do you even care what I've been going through?" I put my bag down calmly. "You mean since the engagement party I wasn't invited to?" Her mouth opened, then closed. The room went still. She broke first. "I didn't mean it like that," she said quickly. "It wasn't my idea to exclude you. It was Mom and Dad. They thought." Dad cut in, his voice sharp. "We thought it would be easier. Less awkward. You're always so distant." I stared at him. "I'm distant because you've spent years pushing me to the sidelines. Don't act surprised when I finally stopped fighting for scraps." Mom's eyes filled again. "Honey, we were just trying to protect Emily's moment. It was supposed to be special." "Yeah," I said coldly. "And look how well that turned out." Emily's composure cracked. She burst into tears, sinking back onto the couch. "He left me. Mark left me. His parents think I'm trash. Everyone saw me fall apart, and now I'm—" Her voice broke. "Now I'm the joke." For a second, I felt that old instinct, the urge to step in, shield her, comfort her. But then I remembered all the times she'd ignored me, mocked me, used me. "You want me to save you," I said quietly. "But where were you when I needed saving?" Her sobs turned into silence. She looked at me like she didn't recognize the person standing there. Dad finally snapped. "Enough. She's your sister. You don't turn your back on family when they're down." I looked him dead in the eye. "No. Family doesn't turn their back until someone's down. You already made that choice when you told me not to come." The room went silent again. For once, none of them had a comeback. I picked up my bag. I didn't come here to fight. I came here to tell you this. I'm done being the invisible one. You can keep choosing favorites, keep rewriting the rules, but I won't play anymore. Emily's voice was a whisper. So that's it. You're just leaving. I looked at her, really looked at her. For the first time, she wasn't the golden child. She was just a person, fragile and broken, facing consequences she thought she'd never have to face. Yes, I said, I'm leaving. But this time, it's not running away. It's choosing myself. When I walked out the door, I didn't look back. The sun was setting, painting the sky gold and red. And for the first time in my life, I felt light. Free. I didn't know what the future held with my family. Maybe distance. Maybe reconciliation. But one thing was clear. I would never again let them decide my worth. Final update that it's been a little over 2 months since that night. The night I walked out of my parents' house with nothing but a backpack and a sharp, cutting silence that followed me down the driveway. I still remember how my mom's face looked in that last second before I closed the door. Pale, lips tight, like she couldn't decide whether to cry or scold me. For years, I'd fantasized about walking away, but I always pictured regret chasing me afterward. I thought I'd lie awake wondering if I'd gone too far, if I'd abandoned my family. I thought the guilt would eat me alive. But here's the truth. The guilt never came. What came instead was peace. The first week in my new apartment felt surreal. I rented a small place downtown, nothing fancy, just 2 rooms, a creaky old kitchen, and windows that look out onto the street where people bustle around living their lives. I bought a secondhand couch off Facebook Marketplace and a mattress that came rolled up in a box. For the first time, I looked around a space and thought, this is mine. There were no family portraits watching over me. No traces of Emily scattered across the house. No tension in the air like a storm cloud waiting to break. Just me, for walls. And quiet. And the quiet? It was beautiful. Of course, the silence didn't last long. 3 days after I left, Emily called. I let it go to voicemail. Her voice was frantic, shaky, not the confident sister who used to command every room she entered. She said things like, I can't believe you'd actually leave. Please, don't do this to me. I need you. You're still my brother. You're supposed to be here. It was strange. She didn't once say, I'm sorry. Not once did she acknowledge what she did at the engagement party. The toast that made me invisible. The way she weaponized her fresh start to keep me trapped as her fallback. Her words weren't about love or family. They were about need. About how I had always been her safety net, the one who caught her when things went wrong. And now, with Mark gone and her engagement in flames, she was free-falling with no net. The story, as I later pieced together, went like this. Mark found out what Emily said at the party. Not from me. I stayed silent. But from one of his own cousins who had been there. He's just my safety blanket. She'd bragged over champagne, half laughing. That cousin told him everything. Mark confronted her. She tried to spin it, of course, but the damage was done. He ended things within a week. His family cut ties. Invitations were rescinded. Wedding deposits vanished into thin air. Emily had to move back in with our parents, tail between her legs. And I think that's when the panic call started, because suddenly, without Mark, without the golden girl future she thought she secured, she realized she had burned her bridge with me too. My mom texted once, we miss you. Can we talk? It took me 2 weeks to respond. My thumb hovered over the keyboard so many times before I finally typed. When you're ready to treat me as your child, not just Emily's brother, we can talk. She never replied. My dad hasn't reached out at all. Not surprising. He was always the one to keep his head down, to let silence do the work of absolving him. So what have I been doing? I've been living. Really living. I go hiking on weekends. I signed up for a photography class, something I'd always wanted to do but never had the time for because I was too busy being on call for my family's emergencies. I go to coffee shops with friends and talk for hours about nothing and everything. I even took a weekend trip to the coast, where I stood on the cliffs and let the wind slam against me until I laughed out loud at how light I felt. For the first time, I'm not defined by who I am in relation to Emily. I'm not the forgotten sibling, the caretaker, the reliable one. I'm just me, and it feels good. Of course, some nights are harder than others. There are evenings where I catch myself wondering, what if they called right now and actually apologized? Would I forgive them? The truth is, I don't know. I don't think I'm ready to answer that yet. There's a wound there, years deep. It's not something a single sorry can fix. But at the same time, I don't hate them. I don't lie awake plotting revenge or holding on to bitterness. I just don't need them anymore. And that feels like freedom. A few weeks ago, I posted a picture on Instagram. Me sitting at a little cafe with my camera on the table, sunlight streaming in through the window. The caption was simple. Finding myself feels better than being found by people who never looked. Dozens of friends commented, saying I seemed lighter, happier, more at peace. And for once, I didn't feel like I was faking it. Emily saw it. I know because she liked the post. She didn't comment, didn't message, just a little digital tap, a reminder that she's watching. I didn't like anything back. Sometimes I wonder what she thinks now, sitting in our parents' house, planning out her next move. Does she miss me? Or does she just miss the role I played in her life? The steady, dependable brother who could always be counted on to clean up the mess? I think I know the answer. And that's why, even though a part of me will always care for her, I'm not going back. So here's where I am now. Not the golden child. Not the scapegoat. Not the safety net. Just me. And for the first time in my life, that feels like enough.